Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Habla Leticia. Hey, what's going on? This is Leticia. In today's video, I will be talking a little bit about the beginnings of my Spanish language learning journey. But before I go any further, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified every time that a new video is uploaded. So first, I would like to start out by revealing that I am 52 years old. Yes, I know, but yes, I'm 52 years old. And my Spanish language learning journey has been what I would like to describe as a lifetime. So I don't want to discourage anyone. My situation was a little bit different, and I'm going to explain just a little bit about that. Well, it began when I was about 8 years old, like in the 3rd grade. So one day I was at the bus stop, school bus stop that is, and I was waiting to get on the bus, and I heard this little girl. She's about 3 years older than me, so I want to say she was like 11 or so, somewhere up in there. I heard her speak in Spanish. Truthfully, at that time, I did not realize that it was Spanish. I just knew that it sounded so beautiful. It was like music to my ears. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it wasn't my language. But something happened within me. I can't explain it, but I knew right then and there that I wanted to learn more. Well, in hindsight, I'll tell you something really, really funny. This little girl was a part of our community, and I wouldn't say that I interacted with her on a daily basis, but I interacted with her on a regular basis. And she was not a native Spanish speaker. She was a young Black American girl, just like me. And in hindsight, I kind of think that whatever she was saying that day, which I don't even know if it was correct, that those were the only 2 or 3 lines of Spanish that she knew. But nonetheless, it was enough just to grab my attention and put me on the journey to wanting to learn more. However, my challenge at that time, unlike today, y no estoy poniendo excusas, I'm not making any excuses, I'm not that type of person, but at that particular time, no había tanto hispanohablantes acá en los Estados Unidos. At that particular time, there was nowhere near as many Spanish speakers as there are in the United States today. And saying that to say that there were not as many resources as there are today. No había tanto recursos que hoy en día. There was no YouTube, there was no Duolingo, there was no podcast, no había YouTube, no había podcast, no había casi nada. So I was struggling, but I knew that I wanted to learn this language. I knew that I wanted to learn more. I couldn't explain why, but it was just something in me that was just like tugging on me. But that was a big problem because there was no one in my community that spoke Spanish, and definitely no one in my house that spoke Spanish. No había nadie en mi comunidad que hablaba español. No había nadie en mi casa que hablaba español. And so I can just imagine that it was a little strange, for some to see me, with this passionate desire to learn. I can imagine, people were probably asking, why does this little, Black American girl want to learn Spanish? The language is not used here, and so on and so forth. But I didn't let that stop me. But it was very much a challenge. So the following year, when I went to the 4th grade, there was a little girl that was in my class. Había una chica en mi salón, and her name was Hazel, and she was from Ponce, Puerto Rico. Su nombre era Hazel, y era de Ponce, Puerto Rico. And we made friends. Nos hicimos amigas, de hecho, amiguitas. We became best friends. And wherever she was, I was. Wherever she was, I was. Wherever I was, she was. We were always together. Donde estaba Hazel, estaba yo. Donde estaba yo, estaba Hazel. I spent time at her house. She spent time at my house. I went to her birthday party. She went to my birthday party. We were like always together. But there was a problem. Había un problema. Tú ya lo sabes. Hazel didn't speak any English, and I only spoke by that time like I don't know, 4 or 5 words of Spanish. Of course, everybody knows how to say hola, cómo está, oh, mi nombre es Leticia, cosas así, things like that. But we made it work. We really made it work. So she came from Puerto Rico to my city because her father was in the United States Army, and so I live very close to a military base, like less than 5 minutes away from the military base. Entonces ellos se mudaron a mi ciudad. Su papá era soldado en el ejército de los Estados Unidos, and we were friends. And so this is the interesting thing. Keep in mind, I'm only like 9 years old. I have no resources around me. I'm just kind of like getting into this thing. I'm really excited. But get this, after a year, the following year, Hazel, her English was, in my eyes, was like nearly perfect. And I was happy for her, but my Spanish was like, you know, I didn't understand. I didn't understand immersion. I didn't understand that, you know, she was in a position where she had to, you know, where she had to learn English. I didn't understand any of that, but I was just really frustrated. Me frustraba. I could not understand. And to make matters worse, a year after that, the following year, they moved. Se mudaron a otro sitio, a otro base militar, because again, her father was in the U.S. Army. So my main resource was taken away from me, my friend Hazel. But I continued to do whatever I could to try to learn. And resulta que it turns out that in my library there were like 2 or 3 books. In my elementary school, there was like 2 or 3 books, Spanish books, nothing serious, nothing in depth, but one book in particular, it had like the pictures, and it would have the name of the pictures in English and Spanish. So that was about the best resource that I had. And so I started teaching myself like certain words. So I had no one else to talk to. Again, there was, at that time, no había internet. It wasn't even the internet, so it wasn't like I could just hop on Google or do anything like that. But you know what I did? I used what I had. And then also too, if I remember correctly, I think it was Hazel that gave me a record. I'm definitely dating myself now. I told you I was 52 years old. And the name of the song was Guitarra. And so I tried to learn that particular song in Spanish as well. So I was struggling. So between like the 4th grade all the way up until the 9th grade, there were no Spanish classes offered in the local schools. There was a shortage of Spanish, of qualified Spanish teachers. So I was struggling, but I was yet still, you know, trying to do what I can with no one to talk to. But nonetheless, when I went to high school, when I was in the 9th grade, I found out that Spanish 1 was offered at my high school. So I was like, woohoo! I was excited. Estaba tan emocionada por eso. Entonces, I registered for the class, but it was a disappointment because I didn't learn anything new. It wasn't anything in detail, and I was like rocking like a 99 in that class. So it wasn't like, you know, I was able to like really hold a conversation. It was just basic stuff. You know, the numbers, the alphabets, the colors, things like that, a few words here and there, but nothing that really equipped me to be conversational. And so I continued the best I could from that point forward. Of course, life issues, starting a family, and then, you know, going to college, and then I did take a year in college as well. But by that time, I had, again, I taught myself a lot. I did not consider myself to be like really conversational, so to speak. But the one thing that I learned how to do is how to be responsible for my own learning, which is exactly what I'm doing now. I still consider myself to be on the learning journey, and this learning journey will continue until the day that I die, because there's always something new to learn. We all have different language learning goals. For some people, they just want to be they just want to hold a basic conversation. There's some people that are not really interested in speaking Spanish, so to speak. And I say to each his own. Some just want to be able to understand. They want to be able to read. And then you have others that are really focusing on enhancing their pronunciación, la pronunciación. There are others that want to be well-rounded. That would be me. So I am working towards enhancing my ability to be able to communicate with regard to a variety of topics. I am in a healthcare professional by trade, so naturally I want to enhance my medical Spanish. I want to be able to talk about business Spanish, everyday Spanish, just a variety, too much to name. So for me, it's a lifelong journey. I have amigos, there it is. I'm getting all crossed up now. That's what happens when the bilingualism starts to come in. So tengo amigos alrededor del mundo, de diferentes partes del mundo, de hispanohablantes, de Puerto Rico, de Honduras, de México, de diferentes partes de los Estados Unidos, de República Dominicana, different countries within the Spanish-speaking community. So those dialects are different, words that they use are different, the culture is different. So again, that is a little bit of my journey. And so I don't consider myself to be a teacher. I don't consider myself to be an expert, but I do consider myself to be a self-starter and a self-learner. And I'm continuing to push to enhance my communication skills. So when you hear the mistakes, just know that I'm on the learning journey with you all. So that's it for now. Hasta la próxima. Ciao.